I'm not here to murder. Bend the knee and join me. Or refuse and die.
You need to find a way to make her listen.
Whatever stands in our way, we will defeat it.
Bran saw the Night King and his army marching towards Eastwatch.
But things are coming.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back for my Game of Thrones Season 7 trailer breakdown video. Now that Episode 4 is behind us, it's time to look forward to Episode 5, so let's go through this trailer scene by scene, and I will tell you everything that is going to happen next. Most of you that are longtime subscribers of mine know that I have read the plot leaks that are accurate, and I have also made videos on all the set photos, the casting news, filming news, and pretty much everything else that has to do with Game of Thrones, so I have a great idea of what's going to happen throughout the entire season. So I will be using everything available to me, and I'll keep this breakdown very simple, so proceed with caution because there will be spoilers in this video. Shall we begin? The trailer opens up right after the battle has ended. Daenerys was victorious against the Lannister and Tarly men, and now she is giving the remaining survivors an opportunity to join her side or die. She tells the survivors that she is not here to murder. Bend the knee and join me, or refuse and die. Jaime and Bronn will not be here because they most likely floated down the river a little bit to safety, but Randall and Dickon Tarly should be here. We did not see them die or make any kind of escape during the battle, so if Daenerys could get them to bend the knee right here and join her cause, this would be another big win for her because it would subtract one of Cersei's big allies right now. Obviously, the Tarlys are very low on men, but Randall could still be used for his battle tactics in the wars to come. But Randall is never going to bend the knee to Daenerys, and this will get him and his son burned alive. Daenerys will be making an example out of them, then the rest of the men that are standing here will probably bend the knee so they do not receive the same fate. You can clearly see that Tyrion is very conflicted about this decision. Obviously, Tyrion is a Lannister, so he doesn't want to see other Lannister men get burned alive, especially since Tyrion probably fought with some of these men during the Battle of Blackwater Bay. Tyrion also has no idea whether Jaime is alive or not, so now he's very concerned about the direction their strategy is going in. He is afraid Daenerys is going to cross the line and get too bloodthirsty. But after she proves her point here, Tyrion will learn that Jaime is still alive, and he's going to try to get Jaime and Cersei to give up before anyone else has to die. In the next scene, you can see the death and destruction littered across the battlefield. The horrors of war is not a pretty sight. And if you look closely, you can actually see two men walking across this battlefield. I do think this will be Jaime and Bronn after they get out of the river, because when the last episode ended, it appeared like Jaime was going to die because his heavy armor was sinking him rather quickly. But as we all know, Bronn does not wear armor. He typically wears his badass leather jacket, so he will probably help Jaime pull off his armor, that way he can get to the surface of the water. Then they will probably swim or float down the current to safety and wait for everyone else to leave. That's why I think this is them walking back and witnessing this horrific graveyard of mostly Lannister and Tarly men. They will both make it back to King's Landing by the end of the episode because we can hear Cersei talking to who I believe is Jaime later in this trailer. Next there is a scene of Tyrion and Varys tells Tyrion that you need to find a way to make her listen. And there are two different ways I actually looked at this. Varys could be talking about Daenerys right here, and her using and wanting to continue to use her dragons to burn everyone alive. But Varys could also be talking about Cersei here. You can see that Tyrion is now drinking again, and he looks like a complete mess. Tyrion probably feels like a complete failure right now. His strategies have not worked out for him, and his family is on the verge of being burned alive. Tyrion is being absolutely ripped apart inside, because there is obviously a conflict of interest with him. On one hand, he wants to help Daenerys because she could be a better ruler than Cersei, but on the other hand, he doesn't want to see his brother die in the process. Tyrion will have to make a very tough decision. Tyrion will go to King's Landing with Davos, and as we all know, Davos was a smuggler, so he could probably sneak Tyrion in without getting him spotted and arrested so he can meet and speak with Jaime. Tyrion will ask Jaime to get Cersei to bend the knee to Daenerys, but we all know Cersei will never do that. Jaime might even be pissed off himself after seeing so many of his men get burned alive. Jaime is not about to abandon Cersei just yet. We then get a scene of Daenerys arriving back on Dragonstone after just winning the battle, and she flies right up on Jon with Drogon and bring them face to face. Jon will finally have his first physical interaction with the dragons, and Daenerys was being a little bit aggressive with Drogon, probably trying to intimidate Jon a little bit, but she's going to be in for a pleasant surprise. Drogon will be putting his face right up to Jon's face, and Jon will reach out and touch him, and Drogon is going to let him. The bonding between Jon and the dragons will have officially begun, and Daenerys is going to be a little bit surprised by this. She has no idea that Jon actually has the blood of the dragon as well, and seeing Jon get comfortable with the dragons will probably be really cool because one day we might need him to ride one of his own to take down the army of the dead. Next, there is a scene with Cersei telling someone that no matter what stands in their way, they will defeat it. And I think she is talking to Jaime right here. I believe he makes it back to King's Landing and he tells Cersei everything that happened during the battle, and she is still confident that they can win this thing. Randall Tarley did say that the gold made it back to King's Landing, so Cersei's going to use that gold to pay off the bank, and she will get herself a large sellsword company. Jaime is also going to tell her that they were actually able to hurt the dragon and bring it down. Although it didn't kill Drogon, Cersei will have Qyburn get some more ballistas made, or possibly even some other kind of anti-dragon weapon. The Lannisters and Tarleys were defeated in that one battle, but with the gold, Cersei can still strengthen her forces and fleet and have more weapons made. That's why she is so confident still, because she is nowhere near out of this fight just yet. And if one of Dany's dragons gets killed, that will put Cersei in an even better position. The power struggle between Daenerys and Cersei will be a 12-round fight to the death. They also show us a quick clip of Qyburn and Cersei alone together in another room, and there are a few different things that may be happening right here. Cersei can tell him to make sure the sellswords are on their way, since we did learn that Qyburn had already been in negotiations with them during the scene with Cersei and Tycho. She could also be telling Qyburn about making some more weapons to kill the dragons, or Cersei is being examined by Qyburn because she is actually pregnant. Believe it or not, Cersei will be pregnant again, but the baby will not live, because the prophecy told to her by Maggie the Frog said that she would only have 3 kids. She might get pregnant again, but it will not survive the pregnancy, further proving the prophecy to be accurate. This could potentially drive Cersei even further into madness if she loses another child, but we will have to wait and see how that plays out. But we did see Cersei and Jaime getting ready to have sex, so the chances of this are very high. Next, we go up to Winterfell, where Bran Stark is sending out all of his ravens to spy on the Night King's army so he can track their movements. And I actually guessed this right during my trailer breakdown. I said this was going to be the army marching to the wall, and Bran would see it. And if you look closely at the army of the dead, you can actually see the Night King and his top lieutenant White Walkers on their horses. There is a scene from the trailer that shows the Night King looking up into the sky, then it showed Bran Stark snapping out of his vision. The Night King might look directly up at the ravens, and he will know that it is Bran Stark, and this will cause Bran to snap out of it. The Night King could also be looking up at a dragon, because Daenerys will eventually take her dragons up there to help Jon. The Night King and his army are currently marching to Eastwatch by the Sea, and this is where they will breach the wall in some way and get south. The Hound saw this in his visions in the flames. He could see where the wall meets the sea, and he saw the army of the dead marching past a mountain that looked like an arrowhead. The Brotherhood and the Hound may be at Eastwatch already, warning everyone about what's coming, and Tormund should also be there since Jon told him and the wildlings to go and man the wall. Jon will also be taking his own group of men here. All of these amazing characters will go beyond the wall together to capture a White, because Jon is still trying to convince everyone about this threat. He will think that in order to get the support that he truly needs, he's going to need to get physical proof. That's why we have seen all these characters together far up north fighting the dead. But before Jon leaves Dragonstone, you can see him here holding a meeting telling everyone about Bran seeing the Night King marching to Eastwatch. This is when Jon will decide he needs to go to Eastwatch by the Sea and help for himself, but he isn't going to be going alone. When Tyrion and Davos go to King's Landing to meet with Jaime, Davos will find Gendry still making weapons. And in this trailer you can actually hear Davos say bad things are coming. He might actually be telling this to Gendry to get his help. Now that Jon has all this dragonglass at his disposal, he could really use someone like Gendry to make them into weapons. Back in Season 3, Gendry planned on staying with the Brotherhood Without Banners to make weapons for them, so he might actually decide to do the same thing for Jon. Jon will be getting a letter from Winterfell telling him that Arya and Bran are home. This could also persuade Gendry into helping Jon if he knows that Arya is his sister. Gendry wasn't willing to help her brother Robb Stark, but he might change his mind and actually help Jon during these very dark times. Jorah Mormont is also going to show up in this next episode now that he's cured from his grayscale, and him and Daenerys should have a nice reunion together, but Jorah will volunteer to go and help the North in this situation. Jorah will want to make things right again. Ned Stark was actually going to cut his damn head off for selling poachers into slavery, so he might want to make things right by helping out Jon, and he will also want to do right by Lyanna Mormont. I'm not actually sure if we're going to see Jon and company arrive at Eastwatch in this episode, but they will leave Dragonstone and head straight to Eastwatch by the sea to meet up with the other men to go beyond the wall. This should be a very exciting episode as all the tension continues to rise. The war between Daenerys and Cersei is just getting started, but now there is a much bigger threat in the north making its way to south, which is going to force Daenerys to make a decision. Does she stay and continue to try and knock Cersei off the Iron Throne, or does she help Jon and the men in the north to fight back the army of the dead? I am getting so excited for these last few episodes now that things are really starting to intensify, so let me know in the comment section if there was anything that I missed during this trailer. Thank you all so much for stopping by and watching today's video. I really do appreciate that, and I hope you all come back for the next one. And I also want to thank my Patreon supporters who continue to show their love month after month. Thank you all so much. I will see you in the next one. Bye.